Our coverage of Computex 2026 from Taipei, Taiwan is brought to you by Thermaltake, Cooler Master, and G.skill. Hey guys, welcome back to my Computex 2026 coverage. I am at Cooler Master. They are a sponsor for the show, so a big thank you to them. And I have a special guest right behind me, or in front of me, or behind you. He's right there. It's Kyle.
Hi. And also, Paul, you just reminded me that Cooler Master is also my sponsor for this
Yeah,
trip.
you should point that out.
So thank you, Cooler Master, for sponsoring the live stream that we're also doing right now that Paul is filming for his video.
So Kyle's live streaming, so we're going to be intermixing a little bit of that. I'm going to be doing a finale video at the end of the show where we'll put a little bit more shenanigans and stuff. But Cooler Master has tons of stuff to show off, so we're going to focus on the hardware. Let's start off with some gold, some high-end stuff. You know, PC parts, they're expensive right now, so why not go all in and make some gold stuff? This is the masterframe 400, which is currently available. This is a special edition of it, though. They're only going to be making about 1,000 of them, so this one is actually number 000, if you can tell right there, out of 999. And you might recognize this mesh on the front. This is actually the same material that they developed in collaboration with NVIDIA. It's basically like a sponge or foam that they nickel plate, and then the sponge or the foam gets melted away, and it leaves you with this nice textured finish that's also very good at promoting airflow, also very good at catching dust, also pretty easy to clean as far as they tell me. I haven't actually tried it myself. So if you're interested in the custom gold limited edition of this case, they should be launching in the next month or so, late June or July. It also has special custom fans. These are the actual Cooler Master aluminum blade fans that they've put a gold finish on, so my finger is way too close to these right now. It is dangerous.
I'm getting nervous.
And it will get chopped off if I put it any closer than that. Of course, you got a tempered glass side panel on the side so you can get a look at your build. And along with the masterframe 400, we also have a couple other special edition items here. This is the 612?
Yeah, Hyper 612 Pro.
A Hyper 612 Pro. And just for a bit of an aesthetic touch, they've taken that same foam mesh with a black finish to put across the top, which is distinct. Goes very well with this series of products right here. Next up, we have the Atmos 2 Pro, also with that foam right there. Also with the aluminum blades on the fans. This one, thankfully, they've put some guards on, so it's a little bit harder to chop your finger off with them. We're not sure exactly how many of these that they're going to produce, but they will be producing a limited amount of these. So look for these to come out in the Q3 time frame if you're really into gold. And then if you want something even bigger, we have the Cosmos Gold Edition right here with the gold across the front. This was, you guys had this on display last year, right?
Yeah, and at CES earlier this year.
And at CES, so the full size, if you like the big beefy computer that you can fit a ridiculous amount of hardware in, multiple GPUs, all that good stuff. The Cosmos has a long and storied history with Cooler Master. So, and if you like it and you like gold, they're only going to make 2,000 of this one. No, 200.
Yeah, 200.
I was off by a factor of 10. 200 of this one, so even more limited edition-y than the 400 over there. Next up here we have the Silencio 600. Silencio series from Cooler Master. It focuses on things being nice and quiet. This is a different kind of front panel than I've ever seen before. It's actually made of plastic fiber. Plastic fiber, which is often used for acoustic designs, for speakers and that sort of thing. The front of this actually has channels that will allow the air to pass through, but then it's designed to be an acoustic maze. So it's going to not allow sound out, but it's still going to allow air to flow in, giving you a nice quiet overall build, especially at the front where you might have fans running, pulling air into the system. It's a pretty unique application of an existing technology by Cooler Master, and I will say, cases can often have a similar look to them. This is just sort of a different front to this. I realized that you were pointing your mic at me, and then I suddenly got...
It's just distracting.
It's fine. I'm all self-conscious now. It's okay.
Doing great, Paul.
So definitely gives you like a unique look, and these are a little bit flexible too, as you can see, so that aids with the absorption of sound, or so I presume. Here's an exploded view of the Silencio 600, so you can see a few more of the components inside. We don't have a price expected for this case yet, but it is expected to launch in around Q3. They've done a few extra touches, like a little cavity or a pocket down here, so for the front air coming in, it's going to redirect that a little bit more upwards towards your GPU. And then what was behind the plastic foam soft form sound dampening front panel, I love when I have cheat sheets, are two of these massive new fans that Cooler Master is also working on. These are called the Mighty 40 V180, 180 millimeter fans, 40 millimeters thick. I love big fans. I'm a big fan of big fans, so that one's pretty cool too. The Mighty 40 V180 is only going to be available in the Silencio 600 at first, but they are debating possibly launching this as an independent product. So I don't know. My suggestion would be for you guys to let Cooler Master know in the comments if you would like a really big fan like this. Guys, have you heard of the Half Series? My memory stretches so far back. I remember when the Half Series did not have a painted interior. It was just bare metal in there with the original run. Half is for high airflow. If you're familiar with Cooler Master cases, you've probably heard it. They've come out with a bunch of them over the years, including the very popular Half X. This is the Half 2500, which was entirely designed to fit this fan. I just talked about how I love big fans, and then what a wonderful segue. There's an even bigger one. This is a Mighty 40 F220, 220 millimeters square and 40 millimeters thick, and there's actually two of them at the front for the intake on the Half 2500. Half 2500 we're expecting in July-ish time frame to actually be available. They're aiming for a $180 to $200 MSRP. They've done a lot of cool things with this case. Along with the two 220 millimeter fans in the front, there's a single 180 for exhaust in the back. As you can see, the IO here across the top. When the top panel gets removed, there's a rail system in there that you can adjust around to fit different size fans, including up to 180s in the top. And then they've also done some special work with this front panel here. So you can see the fans back behind there. And then we have a little bit of a dust screenage right here, as well as lots of wide gaps in order to allow maximum air because it's the high airflow case.
And this is removable, of course.
Oh, yeah, you can pop off.
Slide it down and pop it off so you can clean the filter.
Okay, so pop off to clean that filter. And then if we flip it around, we can see the front where they've maintained the iconic Cooler Master look. Here's a pretty cool GPU accessory called the masterflow. This is a supplement or an aid to GPUs that have pass-through cooling towards the end, which is the case for most NVIDIA RTX 40 series and 50 series cards. This actually has a blower-style fan, which is fairly low profile. The rest of it is a single slot, and then at the back it has just a gap. So all that air that comes out of your GPU on the top gets pushed through there and out the back of your case, rather than contaminating the interior of the case with hot air, which is going to affect other components such as your CPU. In internal testing, Cooler Master said it's about a 5 to 7 degree improvement in CPU temperatures. Asked about GPU temps, they said it's only going to impact that by maybe a degree or two. And over here in the Project Half 100 demo that they have, which also has a pretty cool, I keep saying foam.
Smoke.
Which also has a pretty cool smoke demo, which shows how quickly the air is passing through the system. You can actually see that unit placed on top of the GPU right there. And Kyle is thankfully helping me out with a little bit of the smoke demo. Well done, Kyle. Here's the Qube 540. We saw this at CES. This is a case that's already out on the market, and they have put a wood wrap on this, but they're experimenting with some other finishes, such as stainless steel. Not just like a stainless steel faux finish or something like that, but they've actually remade the front and top panels with stainless steel. They have this sort of darker finish for stainless steel. There's also a lighter finish that they have on hand. They don't know what the price difference is going to be for this case versus the standard Qube 540, but they are planning to bring this to market. Look for it possibly in late Q3. Kyle said it reminded him of like a Mac or something like that, but with stainless steel, I was like, how about a DeLorean? Maybe some DeLorean vibes or something like that. But it definitely significantly impacts the overall look of the case to have the stainless steel on there. Looks very pretty, very reflective, of course. I like recommending some of Cooler Master's cases that are like very affordable, and the Qube series, it definitely meets that criteria. This is the Qube 340, which is a slightly smaller version of the Qube 540. We have a black finish version here. We have a white finish version here. These are going to be $45 for this one here. And then they have this option, which is going to come with some additional accessories. If you guys watched the build I did towards the end of 2025, I showed how little holes throughout this case can fit accessories that pop on or pop off. They've also been working with the mesh for dust filtration. So like this one at the top seems like it would be locked in there, but it's actually got a slit, so you can still remove that to clean out your dust even while leaving the handles in place. The handles, of course, can be removed and swapped around. The case can also be adjusted to lay on its side, for example. So they've added these side screws that actually have some rubber pads on them, so you can lay it flat if you want. So if you're looking for an inexpensive case option that has lots of airflow, keep an eye out for the Qube 340. It should be launching late June or early July. Moving over to some cooling and stuff like that. This is the Masterfan A series. The A is for aluminum. That's why they have those grills on them to protect. But I want to just show the demo that they have. So on the left side here is the Masterfan A. On the right side is a pretty standard fan that Cooler Master has shipped with a lot of cases. So an existing fan on the market. And perhaps Kyle can assist so I can back up and take a look. So let's do the right side first. Watch how far out the air, the dust It's not, I keep calling it dust. See the smoke?
It'd be a real problem.
It's going out, 3-4 feet, maybe a meter or so, and then dissipating into the air. Flip over to this side, masterfan A, and it's blasting it out further that way, off into the distance, over by the Enterprise stuff. We won't talk about that. Along with the aluminum version of the masterfan A over here, which we're expecting to launch in July, these are going to be a little bit more expensive because they have both aluminum frames and the aluminum blades. Looking at about a $45 price for these. We also have the masterfan M right here. These maintain the aluminum frame, but they do not have aluminum blades, which is why there's no covers on those. These are still going to be a premium offering, looking at about a $35 price for those and about the same launch time frame. And then Cooler Master has made RGB fans, because RGB is unavoidable a lot of the time. This is the masterfan R series, also 120 and 140, and these are going to be a little bit more reasonably priced, but they're also going to be launching a little bit later. So look for these late Q2 or Q3, and price is still TBD. I also wanted to quickly show this concept cooler, the G11M Concept AIO cooler, using Cooler Master's newly developed G11 pump and a sort of hybrid design for an AIO. So it's got a downward firing fan, which is very good for like elements around your CPU, such as your VRMs in particular, but it's also connected to a 360 AIO, which is also using those aluminum blade fans. So I can touch these because they're not actually spinning. But yeah, those are very rigid fans. This is a concept in the works, so we're not sure on a price or launch date. One other quick note to add about the masterfan R series and the M series. The M series actually does have a little bit of lighting, just a subtle ring right around the middle, which I feel like is well done. And then for the masterfan R series, which again is still in development, but these are also daisy chainable. So you can see they've got little nubs in there that you can fit into the other side, as well as connectors that will connect, so you don't have to worry about wiring up a bunch of fans. You can daisy chain them together. Here's a set of air coolers, starting with the Hyper 612 Apex Pro, which also has that nickel-plated foam finish across the top, just for some aesthetics. This one is a single tower cooler with dual fans. This is expected to be in the mid-range in terms of price and performance. I don't have prices for these quite yet, but I did want to at least show them to you. We also have it in a black finish here with a brushed aluminum top cover. That looks pretty nice. Then we have the Hyper 622 over here. Available in a couple different varieties. This is a dual tower, dual fan cooler. This one has just sort of an aesthetic plate across the top. You can see the RGB lighting sort of peeking out from the side there as well. This one's also going to be available with an LCD called the Hyper 622 LCD. Not currently up and running or showing anything right there, but as you can see, they just replaced that top panel with the LCD. And there's a look at the contact plate on the bottom, as well as the heat pipes. It looks like you got 6 of those big fatties. Finally, we have another iteration of the very popular, long-lasting Hyper 212. This is the Hyper 212 Flow. Cooler Master's legendary budget cooler, typically in the $30 to $35 range for these guys. Just coming out with another version that's got a little bit more of an aesthetic touch to it. All black finish, black on the heat pipes as well. So there's a quick look at the Hyper 212 Flow. Cooler Master has shown me their 3D heat pipe technology in the past, but they're actually about ready to launch the products based on them. They're going to have 2 different variants. We got a little demo here with the FLIR camera, just showing the basic concept on a standard heat pipe. This is more specifically for single radiator cooling solutions. The heat pipes go up the side. You got a lot of space in the middle that isn't really being effectively cooled by the fans. The 3D heat pipe, you're distributing the heat more uniformly throughout the fin stack. That's going to make the fans more effective at cooling. And according to Cooler Master, these are going to be their new flagship coolers, which are going to give you roughly along the lines of an NHD15 performance. That's a Noctua competing product, in case you're not familiar. Here's sort of a cutaway view of the 3D heat pipe technology. Basically, the 3 is the third heat pipe. They're going to have 2 different variants of this for AMD and Intel, because those have different hot spots on the actual heat spreader for the CPU. And there's some additional details, such as the fans. Like the intake fan is going to be high airflow optimized, whereas the exhaust fan is going to be static pressure optimized. They're also going to be offsetting the RPMs between the 2 of those in order to reduce harmonic vibrations, harmonic resonance that builds up there. So here's a look at the unit all assembled together. There's the reverse fan. I'm assuming these will be labeled as well in the box, so that, well, it'll probably come all put together.
Yeah, they'll come pre-installed.
Okay, so you don't accidentally put the wrong fan on the wrong side.
Right, but I think they're pretty obvious in terms of airflow.
if you know how fan blades typically look, then yeah, that should make sense to you. So we're expecting these to launch pretty soon. We don't have a price right now, but look for them in the June-July timeframe. And I'm pretty interested to see, now that Cooler Master has been developing this for so long, what sort of impact these make on the cooling market for CPU coolers. because air coolers are really nice, and they don't introduce as many points of failure as liquid coolers, so I'm excited to give these a try. Oh, and there's an actual product name too that I should point out. The V8 Ace is what it's going to be called in its initial iteration, its initial form, and then there's going to be, again, an Intel and an AMD version optimized for those two different styles of CPU. Here's a quick demo using human blood. I'm just kidding, no, it's just colored coolants. Here we have Cooler Master's new pump in development, the G11B, compared to one of their standard pumps that they currently use. They're both working, and as you can see, the G11B is pumping a lot more fluid more quickly. Still in development, so they're going to be having multiple products probably based on that pump or using that pump, such as the prototype that I showed you just a few moments ago. Here's some AIOs that Cooler Master has been developing. We actually saw the Atmos 2 Stealth at CES. It has a nice stealthy look with all black. It's got a little pop-off piece here that actually has an active fan in there as well. They've developed this a little bit more. They expanded the radiator, made it about 5mm thicker to improve the performance. I don't have a price on this one, but it should actually be launching soon. Look for it to come out in July. We also have the MasterLiquid Core LCD. That's going to pair up a 6-inch LCD screen on there, which can be rotated to be vertical or horizontal. Because LCD screens on your AIOs, that's all the rage. And then we have the MasterLiquid Atmos 2 Pro Series. This one is still in development, so we don't have a launch date for it yet. Did I say Q3? Q3 for the Atmos 2 Stealth, and then perhaps later in the year or early next year we have the MasterLiquid Atmos 2 Pro Series, and that has that same nickel-plated foam cover on there as well as some lighting going on behind that. Looks pretty nice. Okay guys, what we're looking at here is a demonstration of Cooler Master's new power supplies that are going to prevent your high-end graphics cards from melting. So they have a Firmark demo running, and then we got the switches over here that control the hydraulics for the lowrider. This is showing your amperage across the different pins, the pin connections in the hated and reviled 12VH power connector. Obviously, with Firmark running, we got a full load on the system. We're going to simulate catastrophic failure.
Yes.
Is that all right?
Yes,
I love that. I love that.
So this is designed to be like an interactive game, and if people win, they can get a prize. But I'm just going to show you guys how it works. I'm going to show you guys how it works because I think like seeing it visually is like a really good understanding of what's actually going on in here. So we have per cable monitoring. We're watching every single cable for voltage and amperage. This setup is kind of designed to show that if we cut off the transmission from one cable, it's going to redistribute through the rest of the stack. And then if it reaches a critical state, it'll warn you. It'll blink red to let you know that something's wrong. And then if it reaches a critical state, it'll auto shut off, so that you basically can never get to a point where your GPU is going to melt. Let's do the live demo. So when I turn this one off, the amperage is going to be redistributed to all the other wires. When I turn this one off,
Amperage is also a lot higher now.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
So now it triggered the warning state. So if it remains in this state for 3 minutes, it'll auto shut off. But then if it reaches 15 amps on any wire, it'll hit critical, and then it's supposed to shut off. I don't know if I have to flip another one.
We're at about 14.
It's almost at 50.
Yeah, almost at 15. There we go. And then it auto shuts off.
Auto shut
So
off.
when it hits 15, just auto shut off so that you don't ruin your components.
Right.
So this is a built-in feature of the MWE series, which is actually available for pre-order now. It's coming out later this month. And just a pretty cool demo showing how the amperage is redistributed across the other wires that are still functional if a wire fails or stops having any power sent across it. Once it gets to a warning state, the green light will turn red and flash, and then if it gets past, I believe, 14 or 15 amps on any single wire, it will automatically shut down the system to prevent your cable going all bubbly and melty, as we've seen way too many times for these graphics cards that cost thousands of dollars that NVIDIA doesn't care about people in order to fix it, use something else. Okay, here's the GPU Shield adapter cable. We showed you this back at CES. So this is a solution you can add to an existing power supply without having to replace your PSU entirely. This one's going to have an LED light. It's also going to have a buzzer that will warn you. And just to clarify, for the demo that we saw over here, if it does get to that failure state, it's not actually shutting the system down completely. It's cutting off the power to the GPU, so your screen will go black, but your system will still be on, but ultimately it's going to prevent your cable from melting. We have the MWE series available in a few different colors as well. We got the white, and we've got the black, and we have a V Platinum version over here that has a nice metal finish on the outside. That's pretty cool looking. The V Platinum V3 also has a cool trick. This little USB dongle is actually going to be wirelessly communicating with this little guy. This is just a demo unit, so it's not the final thing. So that can sit on your desk and provide you some feedback on whether or not your GPU is about to melt. But also, it doubles as a wireless charging pad for phones that support wireless charging. So that's a pretty cool idea as well. All right, we're going to round things out today with a very appropriate crossover between Cooler Master and G.skill. G.skill is also one of my sponsors for this event, so this actually works out really well. This is active cooling for memory. I want to start out by saying that Cooler Master said they're very aware that memory is really expensive right now, and they said they're not trying to say like, hey everyone, go out and buy this really fancy new memory that has active cooling on it because, you know, they're going to be like $900 or something like that. These will initially be available in Cooler Master pre-built systems where they can help control costs a little bit better. And then they said when memory prices hopefully come back down, or if there's enough demand, they might consider selling these individually on their own. We had a little smoke demo that showed how the blower fan that's on the side here pulls in air and pushes it down across the memory and ejects it out the back. I also confirmed that yes, this memory does still include RGB lighting because obviously that would be a great travesty if it did not. You're going to be giving up your secondary DIMM slot. So if you have a 4 DIMM configuration, the cooler does take up the second slot. So you're not going to be able to put 4 of these side by side or anything like that. But for a lot of configurations like AMD in particular, that's difficult to run 4 DIMMs anyway. In terms of speeds and everything, they're going to have AMD kits that are DDR5 6000, cast latency 26, which is pretty tight in terms of timings. They're going to have Intel configurations that go up to DDR4 8400 speeds. And in terms of performance, they said that this can actually lower the DRAM temperatures for DDR5 by up to 15 degrees. And although it's not something that I've experienced, they said that DDR5 memory can tend to run hot, which is why they decided that this is something they should look into making. So to keep your memory running nice and smoothly at its rated speed, perhaps some added cooling is going to be something that might be desirable. We asked them if they might consider selling just the cooling unit itself, so people who maybe already have RAM and can't afford to spend $300 or $600 on another kit could add it on. They said, that's an interesting idea, we'll think about it. And then I noted that this is definitely not the first time I've seen active cooling or fans cooling off memory. I've seen kits that strap across the top of a memory and have fans that blow air down towards them. I asked if they had done any A/B testing with that. They said no, they don't have like comparative numbers there, but they did say that they're confident that this solution is a better one than ones that have been on the market in the past. Look, friends, people we know. Yay! Looks like some other people are arriving, so we better wrap this up. Okay, hardware connects, by the way. To close my little video here, I wanted to share some of these really cool mods that they have in the entry area at Cooler Master, starting off with the Cosmos Charger. The Cosmos Charger is this system build up here, custom build, but it's also paired with this motorcycle. I don't know anything about motorcycles really, but I can say that this motorcycle looks really cool. It's even got like a Cooler Master logo on the side. This is made by Winston Ye of Rough Crafts, which is very nice. We also got the Coffee Master over here. This is made by Ultra PC Gamers from the UAE. This is using the masterframe 360 panorama, which Cooler Master said people had complained, or not complained, but people had commented that the front area of that looks like a coffee maker. So they're like, hey, let's embrace that and make an actual functional coffee making PC. Unfortunately, it got a little bit roughed up in shipping, so it does have a coffee dispenser here at the front, but it's not currently functional. But they've been working on it to try to get it up and running again. Still, beautiful build. I love the sort of copper works on the inside and everything. Looks really nice. Over here we have Project V8. This was made by Liquid House, and this one is pretty bonkers. It's using those aluminum frame fans across the top, and they did not put anything to protect them. So that's why they have a sign there that says do not touch. We also have metal 3D printed exhausts along the side for all those fans going across the two 420 millimeter radiators. And it actually exhausts here at the back. In fact, you can feel a lot of airflow being pushed through the back there. So another really cool mod. Then there's this mod. This is really cool. It's called Killer Man. This actually won the Case Mod World Series in 2022. Made by Jugapat Modifier, JMDF. First of all, it's just really tall. It's also got shifty eyes in the front that look back and forth, so that's pretty cool too. It's got like personality. You got a revolver down there on the side. Yes, it is a computer. There's a PC there in the middle, as proven by the Cooler Master AIO. Just some amazing work here with 3D printing and everything, and then the sword on the back, including the GPU on it, also really cool as well. If I had one nitpick about this build, and this is super nitpicky, and I don't even know why I'm bringing this up. How do you plug in your monitor to the video card? It's a little obstructed. You could probably fit an HDMI cable through there or something. Then we have the Guild Wars Reforged system by Alpha Guard. I don't know how do you read that? Alpha Guard Inc. I think is who made this one. Got to give respect to the creators. This is in the masterframe 360 LCD as well. Really cool model there on the front. Guild Wars logos on the side. Nice paint job all around. And then the last thing here in the entry area was the heat pipe bending experience, which both Kyle and I did. I did a much better job at it than Kyle though. So I have now been dubbed a certified heat pipe bender. Yes. So I have a new title. I can be put to work in the Cooler Master manufacturing facilities, warehouses, factory. I guess that would be what that's called. So at least I have a fallback plan if this whole YouTube thing doesn't work. I also ran into Andy from Salem Techsperts here, which is awesome too, because we had like communicated online but hadn't met in person, so that was really cool. But I need to wrap up this video. I was gonna say thank you to Kyle, but he's live streaming somewhere with Aaron still. So thanks to Kyle for joining me today and wandering around Cooler Master. Thank you to Cooler Master for sponsoring my coverage of Computex 2026. Thanks to you guys for watching, and also thanks to my sponsors Thermal Take and G.skill as well. I have more coverage coming at you real soon, so stay tuned, hit the subscribe button and all that good stuff. We'll see you all in the next video.